It's so good to see everybody. I'm Elizabeth Fildes, and on behalf of the American Nurses Association Minority Fellowship Program, the National Advisory Committee, the wonderful staff that have put together this very, very special event, and the planning committee that worked very hard to make sure that you, each and every one of you, have a wonderful experience during this ITI. So welcome to the 2023 ITI conference. I could sense the bubbling and exciting energy among us in this room. The only thing I wanted to add is sunshine from Las Vegas. So our advocacy today, focus today is on advocacy. And if you remember from the last time we were here together, our speaker said, data makes you credible, but your stories make you memorable. So tell stories at the Hill today. And so I want to introduce Dr. Liz Stokes, who will also welcome you. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is so wonderful to see all of your beautiful faces. Many faces I already know. There's new faces here. This is so exciting. If this is your first time at MFP at the Summer Institute, this is like a family reunion. It's so beautiful. It is. It's just so beautiful. It's a community. It's warm energy. And I'm so excited to be a part of this. I bring you greetings on behalf of the American Nurses Association, and we are again so excited to be here with you today. As Dr. Fildes mentioned, today is the day on the Hill, so this is an exciting day. This is the day where you can use your voice, advocate for whatever you need to advocate for. They're going to talk about that, and don't be nervous. So I know sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to talk to my legislator or my members. You got this, right? Remember, they are working on behalf of you. Right, so use your voice. Take pictures if you get a chance. That's the really exciting part too. Take pictures, share it on social media. We have the hashtag that's on the front of your agenda, and the whole program, this entire agenda, I'd like to say is fire. This is fire, y'all. It's so good. I'm so excited. Every single day, there's something exciting happening. You will hear from me some more. If you need anything in the interim, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be here until Sunday. And welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, your turn.
Hello, how are you all doing? I am Christopher Kush with Soapbox Consulting, and we scheduled your meetings. Have you all looked at your meetings? Good. Then let's get warmed up. So today, we are going to go up to the Hill as part of a celebration. This program is 50 years old. Everybody say 50 years old.
50 years old.
Here is a little trick that we use in Washington, D.C. When either the House or the Senate does the right thing overall, everybody gets a thank you. So you don't have to worry about it today. You just have to invite them to the party. So say 50 years like you mean it.
50 years.
It's a celebration. 50 years. You're going to say to each and every office, congratulations. You're going to say to each and every office, thank you. Okay? You're not going to be doing the electric slide, so I'm going to ask you to cut it off about there, right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about what does that conversation sound like besides the celebration you're having, besides thanking them, besides giving them credit, whether or not they're familiar with the program. So, some of you, before you came here, might have Googled a few things that my overfunctioners, where are you overfunctioners?
Everybody raise your hand.
If you think that you're going to walk into an office and you're going to have to balance the federal budget and explain what they're going to do about all the money and about making ends meet, that's not a conversation you're going to have. So they're not waiting for somebody to walk into their office to be like, I don't know, what would you do in this situation? Any more than they would be invited to come into your place of employment and decide to do what you do. So you're not going to balance the federal budget. You're also, because we're here having a party, you're not advising them, like, you don't have to look up, like, how does a bill become a law, so that you may instruct the senator should she have forgotten what the legislative process is. So you're not here to advise them about the processes of Congress. You are also not here to find the magic number that you will utter in the office and have them say, you got it. I will support it. 29%, you got it. You got me, I shall support you. We are not up there casting spells. All right?
I'd like to do that.
We are up, I know it would make it easier. I'm telling you, it's going to make it easier. So, but I cut out the electric slide because you don't want to see a senator do the electric slide. So work with me now. So what are the kind of things we're going to talk about in this office? I want you to be prepared for 2 conversations, and I want you to sound like you, and I want them to be able to see you and see what you do and see who you help. And I'm not going to give you a script about how to share that, because for each and every one of you, that conversation is a little bit different. And yet I want you to find your words and your style and how you would articulate this. So, let's start with an introduction. I want everybody here to find somebody you don't already know well. Oh, somebody's laughing in the back. Somebody you don't know well. And I would like you to think about the last time it occurred to you that you chose the right career. The last time you felt proud about what you do. The last time you said, now this is the stuff I wish I could do all the time. Did you have that feeling in the last month? Did you? I hope you did. Sometimes, for me, sometimes it might be 6 weeks. 6 plus, a couple days maybe. All right, think of that time. I'd like you to find somebody you don't already know well. That means you can pivot, you could get up, you can be noisy. Shake their hand, or you can do elbows. And introduce yourself. You each have 1 minute to share the last time it occurred to you that you made the right choice. Everybody got that? Okay, find somebody. You can walk around, you can stand up. Move the eggs around. Do that. We need a buddy over here. Come with me over here. Come over here, yeah. I need a buddy over here. One group of 3 right here.
Yeah, that's how life is.
Yeah, we have 1 group of 3 right here. Okay, great.
Prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation.
It's interesting to you, you do this stuff all the time. You see each other in the airport later, what are you going to do? right? This is it. So easy. We're almost done with our meeting. You got to be able to say congratulations. Left side of the room, say congratulations. Congratulations. Right side of the room, say thank you. Thank you. All together, say 50 years. 50 years. All right, that's it. What you have done there is you've given the office something interesting, something they're going to remember, like our stories. This is a long and complicated process, and you're not going to be able to talk about that long and complicated process in terms of how Congress supports this program. So you want to give them something that sustains them. And your work and your effort is interesting and appreciated in those offices. Okay. If you're not comfortable talking about yourself, you don't belong in DC. But we're going to see what we can do. I want everybody here to think of a recent patient. I don't want you to think of their social security number or any other identifying information. I want you to think of a recent patient. If you manage other nurses, I want you to think of maybe one staff member. If you're teaching, one student. If you're doing research, one of your other colleagues, or, and I'm only going to give you a minute, what you're researching. Isn't an academic journal, just warning you. Does everybody have one of those? All right. Now I want you to break up with your buddy, and I want us all to be adults about this, okay? And I want you to find another person, a different person you don't already know. Don't text your old buddy. Find somebody else you don't already know. Introduce yourself, elbow bump or handshake, and share or introduce, again without any identifying information related to social security numbers or anything like that. Introduce the patient, the staff, the colleague, the student, or the research project. Everybody got that? All right, now some of you are going to have to move around a little bit more. Everybody stand up, find somebody new.
I work, so my work is she ended up because I had to, and I'm glad I did, but I felt like I started beating myself. I know that
I like to shop. I like shopping more, like doing shopping.
I understand French, but yeah.
And then you feel like you actually got it right. So in that, setting, it makes you feel really good to be a psychiatric mental health practitioner.
All right, stay where you are, but you can have a seat. All right, how do we do? How do we do? Everybody have somebody they can introduce? This table's on fire. I'm turning the laptop this way. Let's have these reactions. Okay. That one works too, except we got to make our ask at the end of the meeting. Left side of the room, say congratulations. Congratulations. Right side of the room, say thank you. Thank you. Everybody say how many years? 50 years. That's it. Excellent. So now you've just done the same thing, but you haven't had to speak about yourself. You put a face on this issue. You know what's great about doing that? You are serving the same people they are. You are talking about their constituents. How are their constituents? They're getting care now. If you weren't there, where do the constituents end up? Eventually they could end up asking the member of Congress, what are you going to do for me? What are we going to do about this population? What are we going to do about getting this care in our area, right? So when you have that conversation, they are super interested in that. So when you have this powerful way of sharing it, but if you do it with an individual, it becomes memorable. It becomes urgent, right? So that's another way you can do this. I'm going to give you a third and final introduction. So now you're going to break up with your buddy again. I know you're getting around the room. Everybody who was over here is now over there, everybody over here, over there. So what happens in DC stays in DC. This is just between us. On each table, you have a little fact sheet about the program. This is for my left brain people. Shout out to the left brain people, we have a role for you. So you don't like talking about yourself, you were taught, and I can't talk anecdotally at any of these conferences, fine. We're gonna find a place for you. I want you to look at this sheet that describes the Minority Fellowship Program, and I want you to pick one thing that's interesting to you, not all of it. And I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to a third person and share the one fact about the Minority Fellowship Program that you think is most interesting. Everybody got that? So grab your piece of paper, stand up, find a third one. We're getting kind of packed in over here, so we might want to walk, a few people walk over here. Find one other person, introduce yourself, and share the one thing about the Minority Fellowship Program you find interesting. Come on over. We have fresh money. Fresh money.
Then he would know I can cook.
Kick her out. All right. So that one works too. So instead of introducing yourself or introducing a patient or one of your staff members or a research project, you shared one fact. You shared one aspect of this program. Good news. You're going to leave that piece of paper with every office you meet with. And that frees you. It's not a script. You're not going through it all. You're leaving the full story, but just like you're introducing yourself, you are focusing them on something, taking some time on an aspect of that sheet so that they can remember it. All three of those work. If you do that approach, it works. It's effective. You have to finish it up with left side of the room. Right side of the room. Thank you. Everybody. 50 years. All right. All right. Good. Let's move on. This is what it's going to look like. So today we are going to have all of these conversations with these offices around the country. You are going to see both of your U.S. senators. Everybody has two, except for those of us in D.C., Puerto Rico, Guam, Virgin Islands.
Yay.
And everybody has one representative, but nobody's going alone. So you might be seeing two representatives today. People might notice that on your schedule, like I know I'm seeing her, why am I seeing this guy? It's because somebody else is going to be with you from that district. You are expected in all of the meetings on your schedule, so you don't have to say, I'll wait outside for you. You want everybody to come up with a spiel, and let's not make it complicated, okay, so they're expecting you. Pop quiz that I have to give you before we can move on. On this map, you see blue dots. Blue is associated with a political party in this country. What is that party? Democrats. Democrats, that's not the quiz. On this map, you see red dots. Red is associated with a political party in this country. What is that party? Republicans. Republicans, that's not the quiz. You even see a green dot on this map. Green is associated with a third political entity in this country, and that is? Kirsten, you got it. Okay, now, she's just her own color. So, here's the pop quiz. If you end up discovering that your senator, or one of your senators, or a representative you are meeting with, belongs to a party that you did not and would not vote for, what do you say about the election? No. Excellent, we can move it along. Okay, so now we are pulling this all together. Let me say seriously about that. When we are in these offices, we can't talk about politics. You can't talk about funding. So you are actually not allowed to say anything related to elections and candidates because you're talking about business. Even if you're educating them and not asking for money, you are having a business meeting. So you can't mention anything about what you would do at the ballot box or what you wouldn't do at the ballot box. This is a time for you to focus them on you, the difference you make, the people you serve. There is not time for you to advise your friendly offices on how you would change their commercials or what issues you would suggest that they campaign on. So anything dealing with the candidates or elections cannot talk about in these offices. Second thing, the people who represent you represent you. It doesn't matter if you voted for them. They still represent you. You are still serving their constituents. So don't feel that if you didn't vote for them, you have to confess. In these offices, right? In these offices, you are representing the people they are representing. And they will understand that you are somebody who comes to Washington, D.C. and somebody they look in the eyes of about serving the people at home. They will understand the implications of ignoring you or not understanding you or deciding that this stuff isn't a priority. So they will get all of that, the implications for the election. Another thing I want to tell you. When we are fighting for issues, we have to have half of the House of Representatives. It's about 220 kings and queens who are all in charge of their worlds. It's not easy. They have to be doing the same thing at the same time. And it's impossible to make the wheels turn unless we warmly and sincerely invite everyone to the party. So no matter what their political party is, can you warmly and sincerely invite folks to support us?
Yes.
All right, good. Lie to me, let's keep it going. They're just on fire. She's like, more coffee, let's go. All right. This is how it all comes together. When you go into a legislative meeting, you've got 15 to 20 minutes. These things are fast. You will be with a partner and you will have extra one-sheets or fact sheets about the program. And we recommend that you think in terms of this hook, line, and sinker method. I always use it no matter what the issue is I'm talking about. Usually it all comes together during that first meeting. So if you haven't done this before, it will all come together with your partner of exactly what you're going to say and how you're going to get through the day during your first meeting. After that, you're going to be like, I get it, what's our next meeting? I promise you. So you're going to get through the first meeting, but think in terms of this format for your 15 minutes. First thing, everybody introduces themselves. That will probably be you and a buddy. You introduce yourself, your name, your title, where you work, and you want to be specific about location. That is street address. If you work in a large city, is anybody here working in a big city like a Dallas, New York, LA? You want to be specific about that because a city might have 9 representatives. And they're just sitting there waiting for you to say, you know, I'm at the annex that's over there on Gulf Road, you know, in the east side of town, whatever it is. They are listening for geography. When you hit the geography, they make eye contact and they lean forward a little. You're better at, I mean, I can already tell, you're better at this than almost any group we talk to. So you're looking for that. You're looking for that connection, and that connection will happen when you say the geography that they represent. Now they're listening. Actually, now they're just waiting for you to tell them, what can I do to support these folks? If it's on the front page of the newspaper, maybe it's something, you know, the parties are fighting over. But it's not, if it's not on the front page, and there's a lot of stuff that's not on the front page, they're looking for some way they can say yes to you. They don't want somebody who comes all the way to DC, what, are you crazy? Comes all the way to DC to sit down, look at them in the eye, share what you're doing for their constituents. They don't want to tell you no. Maybe if it's on the front page, there's a fight, but otherwise, there's really an opportunity there to have them join in this celebration. Okay, so everybody goes around, your name, your title, specific geography, and then you have a choice. Your choice is what I call the line. Your choice can be a personal story, that is your story, how you came to do this work, how you know you're making a difference, or the story of somebody you helped, the story of somebody that you met, something you're researching. So that's your choice if you want to share a personal story. You do not have to fall down weeping as part of your personal story. Although that helps actually. Can anyone do that? I have a couple additional clients I need you for. Or you can choose, I'm going to talk about this program. I'm going to talk about the fact from this program, from this sheet, because you have a great personal story, and so I'm going to do a fact from the sheet. If you and your partner are different, if you share different things, the meeting is that much better. We're sharing that many more facets. So your line is your choice. Personal story, or do I want to share a fact? And then we get to the sinker. The sinker is where I then say we're not all individuals. The sinker is where the office will say to you, what do you want us to do? And you will say, this is a party. You'll say, I want to offer you congratulations. And I want to thank you. Even if you haven't done a damn thing. And I want us to celebrate our 50 years. Okay, so that is where we all come together. We're not asking for anything based on legislation or money. But when we come to town, and if you work with other groups, it's important to know that that sinker is where we're trying to get the half of the house, not to have 100 different ideas about what we're going for, but to know what we're asking them to do this week. So just so you know, when you come to town or somebody says you need to ask them for this, that's not a time to say, well, that's not my priority. I'm going to ask them for something else. Or I think we should do a 5-year plan instead. The sinker is always something very narrow. It's something they can do right now, and it's something we can see. So I want to see the offices that we meet with, and how many offices is that? I want to see 66 of those legislative offices celebrated, right? We want the confetti, we want the balloons, we want them hollering, you know, maybe some cupcakes can be shared. All right, so that's hook, line, and sinker. I'm going to give you some time once I go through logistics so you can talk with your buddy, your partner in your state, and you can figure out, well, I think I want to share this. And so make it say, I think I want to share that. Okay, so a couple things. I talked about not bringing up elections. I talked about the importance of not bringing up other issues. There's not time, and that distracts from the message that we're all sharing that we want to resonate between the offices. Follow-up is important. They're going to celebrate or they're not going to celebrate. So follow-up is important in terms of a thank you for this group. So what you're trying to do is, through a long and complex process, you're trying to get them to remember your name. You're trying to get them to know you mean business. So when you go home, or when you're in the meeting, grab a card from everybody you meet with. When you go home, send a thank you email. What you're doing there, it's about being polite, sure, but it's also about reminding them your name, your title. You want to be somebody who, when you interact with the office, they know that name and they know they're going to see you on occasion. So follow-up is important. Questions. If somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to about the program, it is fine. It is a win. It is an exciting moment for everyone. Why is that? What?
They're interested.
Because, yes, first of all, you've done the colossal thing. You have made them interested of all the issues they're going to hear every single day and week. You've made them interested. Congratulations. This is a good thing, right? Okay, what else? Any other things?
Opportunity to follow up.
Opportunity to follow up. So when they ask you a question and you say, I have to have somebody get back to you, everybody in the DC office goes, yeah, because 2 weeks from now, they're able to go and have another meeting and go over everything again. It brings us into visibility again. So if somebody asks you a question you don't know the answer to, yes, thank you so much for that question. Let me see how many fellows are in our county. I'm going to have somebody get back to you on that. Right? Okay. Something I bet you are going to be asked. Somebody's going to say, can I make a 1-minute floor speech about this? So I bet some of you will get an opportunity today where they want to go down to the floor of the House or Senate and celebrate or explain this program. So if they do that, that's a yes, and you'll have staff get back to them about that issue. They might, if they're standing there for a minute, they might want to share your story or the story of one of your patients. They're not going to get up there and just say, so there's this program. They're going to say, I would like to give a shout out to the people, the fellows in Tulsa who are providing care and connecting people who weren't previously connected, and they're going to name your name and stuff like that. So they'll be in touch with you afterwards, but if you hear them say, can I make a floor speech? It's again, yes. And you're going to say, that's fine, and I'm going to have somebody from A&A get back to you. All right. Final thing, this is a very friendly room, so I don't think I have to say this, but in terms of building relationships, these folks not only are going to be there for the next year and a half, but they tend to stay around. Like, it's hard to get one of them out once they're in. So, and we want you to keep coming back. We want them to see you. We want them to know you. So, I mean, it's a celebration, but Lord knows at some parties, you know, little fights break out. So, if you happen to drop an F-bomb in the office, that will be the last time you can do that. So choose wise, right? Where you slam the door a little too loud. So, because it's a long and complex process. So when you come to DC, and we ask you to be respectful and flexible and patient with people who are going to take a long journey to being a human being, blessed, right? we ask you for those things, not because we're soft, but because we know there's going to be no option but to send you right back in that office the next time you come to town. So, respectful, patient, kind. I told you when we came in, you don't have to convert anyone on the spot. You don't have to get a bill passed today, right? So, your job is human. So, you're going to give people information. You're going to share something interesting and memorable about what you're doing at home. And if they're not ready to receive it, they've heard it. That's all. On to the next meeting. Everybody got it? Okay. Let's talk about, let's talk about new members. Has anybody done this before? Who has done this before? Anybody? All right, this table. That's why they're also, you're all on it. So one thing I just want to caution my veterans about, if you've got a new member of Congress, your previous member will tend to know a lot more than the new members. So just get in that mindset. Because if you have a new member of Congress, the human response is to be like, oh my God, my previous representative was so awesome, but this guy doesn't know anything. So new members belong to the groups that are patient and kind with them at this point in their careers. So they won't know acronyms. It's going, slow your roll with the new members. All right. Now I'm going to talk about logistics. Is that everything for the meetings? Does anybody have any final questions before I get into, oh, sorry. I walked out of frame. Before I get into the logistics of your meetings, I've worn you all out. Have you introduce yourself 3 times, walk around this room? All right, good.
Would
Yes.
you share the importance of speaking with staff?
Oh, thank you. That is excellent. Okay, so you will be meeting with, in some cases, representatives or senators, and in some cases, you'll be meeting with staff. Staff are critical to the process because it's a long and complex process. And when you meet with staff, what you're thinking of is you're forming a link with somebody who will respond to your emails, who will get on the phone if you call, who will give us additional information. If we were following a bill, that would be super important because there's not just like 2 political parties, there's like 10 different factions in the House and Senate. And so if they can give us information, then it helps us inch things along. Staff are the only people who are going to respond to emails, who are going to get on the phone. So when you meet with staff, that's super important. In many ways, and you will hear this endlessly when you come to town, in many ways, that's the point of this. Get a card. Get a card, send a thank you. Now we've got a link we can communicate with. Okay. You are about to all get a printed schedule. It matches your online schedule with the mobile tool. And the mobile tool stays important now that you are in town. And I'm going to tell you a couple things you're going to do with the mobile tool. But you are also going to have this brand new technology that's super easy to use, doesn't need to be recharged. It's called paper. We're trying it for the first time. Big screen, double-sided, it's amazing. So, you're going to get a printed schedule that has a lot of information on it, and what we're going to do is we're going to ask you and your buddy to look at this schedule and tell us if anything has changed with your travel plans. So if you know your schedule already, that's good. This is about a check-in because there's probably only one way you can hurt us in these offices, and that's if they're expecting to meet you, and they have very specific rosters. These are business meetings. And the member decides to pop in to say hello, and they had to say no to another group, and nobody shows up. So not showing up is something they remember for a super long time. Remember, these are not office hours, these are not town hall meetings, these are business meetings for you specifically and your buddy. So we're gonna have you check in and let us know, did anything change? If it changed, it's all good. We can let the office know this morning, and everybody's fine getting their 15 to 20 minutes back. Everybody's happy with that. It's if they're waiting there and nobody shows up that we're in trouble. Okay. On your printed schedule, underneath your name, you will get your mobile tool code. If you didn't get it or can't find it, no problem. It's going to be right here. Under or next to that is the Soapbox Help Desk. Megan Holdren and I are here from Soapbox this morning. If you are not seeing us because you are on Capitol Hill, we are going to ask you to call us. We have human beings waiting to take your calls. So, do not email somebody, do not text somebody. If you need help, we've got to get you help right away. You're going to call us. We have the name of your buddy underneath that. And then underneath that, we have key committees noted. So if your member of Congress is on a key committee, don't worry about it. It's just we've noted it. If somebody from the organization joins your meeting, maybe they'll tell you something about that. In the middle, you'll have your list of meetings. It'll say the senator or the representative's name, and then in parentheses, it will say who you are meeting with in the office. If it says member, you are on the representative or the senator's schedule, and things can change, but that's who you should ask for when you go into the office. If you have the name of staff, it will have the staff name and the staff title. That's who you should ask for if you go to the office. It will give you a building and a room number that I'm going to show you how to read in just a minute. And then it'll have some additional pieces of information, including new. If it's a new member of Congress, slow your roll over here. It will say up if it's a senator who's up for re-election. 1/3 of the Senate is up for re-election next year. Does anybody know who's up for re-election on the House side? Everybody who wants to come back. So every 2 years, all of the House members have to be re-elected to keep serving. All of the meetings are in person. They are on Capitol Hill except for 2, I believe. And 2 of the meetings are virtual. Virtual meetings, you are going to use your mobile tool to join those meetings because the link you'll see on the printed schedule is one of those Zoom links that's like this long, right? So just go on the mobile tool, you can press it. Our advice, those meetings are either, one is early in the morning or early this afternoon, and one is at the end of the day. Our advice is to come here and use your laptop or do it in your hotel room or what have you. So that's our advice for doing the virtual meetings. But you can ask the House or Senate office you are in if you can stay and use their conference room. You are a constituent, and people all the time use their conference rooms to do these. So that's a third option for you. On the back of your schedule, you will have a map of Capitol Hill. To the north of the Capitol, that's at the top of your schedule, you will notice 3 buildings. Those are 3 Senate office buildings. They are all connected through basement hallways. You will see entrances, accessible entrances, and places you can find food. You get into any one of those buildings, and you are close to both of your Senate meetings. Those are these 3 buildings right up here. On the House side, you will go outside of the Senate buildings and walk the 4 large but gorgeous city blocks to get to the House side. And then at the bottom of your schedule, to the south of the Capitol, you will see 3 buildings. There are 3 bigger buildings. They're all connected through basement hallways. You get into one of those buildings, and you are close to both or all of your House meetings. You will see your entrances, your accessible entrances, places you can find food, and also estimated walking times. On Capitol Hill, people are super friendly. So you can ask staff in any office, you can ask security guards, where is this, how do I find this office? There are signage on the walls, so there's lots of ways you can get around. But just know that you're close to your meetings once you are inside either of those connections of buildings or those groups of buildings. All right, the mobile tool. If something changes today, we will send you a push notification. So you'll get an alert on your phone if something changes with your schedule. Every single meeting has a feedback form. This is important for your DC office so that when they follow up, they don't need to assume they have to start at the beginning. So this gives them the ability to continue the conversation and go deeper. So please, you don't have to, it's not like a full form, it's just a couple questions. We'll know which meeting you're talking about. But after each meeting, please press the feedback button. I don't show you the schedule. Please press the feedback button next to the meeting and then answer the questions. There's a little camera icon here. If the member shows up, please take a photo and we can document visually the 50-year celebration, as well as substantively. Taking live video or recording live audio during these meetings is forbidden. It requires a clearance that we did not ask for. So please, no live video, no live audio, but you can take a still photo with permission. It's perfectly charming. Okay, we're going to hand out the schedules now, and we're going to give you some time to look at the schedules first and let us know if somebody didn't make it or if somebody still needs a schedule, but most importantly, if there's anything we have to cancel. And then you'll have the balance of your time to talk with your buddy and plan how you want to do your hook, line, and sinker. With that, I want to thank you for inviting us to schedule your meetings. We appreciate what you do. We appreciate you asking us to help in what you do. Yes?
I have a question.
Yep.
What do you suggest we bring? Because you know you want to travel light, or because you know we're walking around.
Yeah, so when you go into the building, I'm glad you asked this, you will go through a metal detector like at a library or something. It's not like the airport. And if you have a bag, it will be scanned. So you want to, traveling light is a little better, you know, but you can throw your bag through, you know, and I mean, I hear people say chunky jewelry, maybe not. You know, keys and cell phone you have to put through the scanner. So if you travel light, that's good. Comfortable shoes is helpful. Extremely, yeah. They're like old ancient marble halls, and so they run. Okay, so with that, I want to thank you for inviting us to do this. One last time, we got to get the woot woot. We're going to tell each office what? Congratulations over here, and then we say what? Thank you. And then we say how many years? 50 years. So say it one more time. 50 years. Oh, I want to hear it over here. How many years? 50 years. Yeah, you have to have a little volume.
Wow, okay, I moved, but I guess. Oh, well, let them know.
I mean, to let down. Yeah. Yeah. One of the congressmen is here like Fildes. Is he here? He's the new one, Fildes. Oh,
No, that's here.
Extra fat sheet for each office you meet with.
Literally this week last year.
Some extra information. Oh, there you go. Yeah. These are at the same time.